Welcome to Central New York Real Estate Realities with Mike. This channel provides a series of brief Central New York real estate topics. I'm Mike Lipke, Associate Broker with Howard Hanna. Welcome to episode 4, where I'd like to discuss cost versus value. So what do I mean when I talk about cost versus value? I'm referring to a situation where, let's say, a homeowner, before they sell, they do some updates to their property, maybe some replacement windows, or maybe they renovate their kitchen, or a bath, or a combination of all the two. Their home was worth a certain value before they did the renovations, and they're doing this in the hope to get top dollar value when they actually do sell. So let's say during the winter time they did some construction and some updates, and they put their home on the market, hoping to sell it in April. And so what could they expect to gain in terms of value for their home after they did these renovations as compared to what the home value was before the renovations? So for basically cost versus value, what we're talking about, for every dollar you spend in updates, upgrades, renovations, what could you reasonably expect to receive in an increased sale price when you actually sell the home? There's a lot of variety based on what the job is, how well it's done, and so on and so forth. But the tendency that we see as realtors a lot of times is that people sit down and talk to you, and, what do you think your home was worth? Well, I think it was worth so much, but we put $30,000 into, updating the kitchen and a bathroom, and so they want to add that into the list price. Well, you don't always get all of that back again. And then on the buyer side, buyers sometimes they come in and you can see in their mind they have the calculator going. I say, well, I need to replace the roof, the furnace is, on its last legs, and so it's going to cost me, so many thousands for this or for that. So they want to take that off the list price. Well, that's not true either. So there's got to be a way to determine what you can stand or expect to gain based on how much you put in. I mean, it's that simple. Before we start that, I just want to get back up a little bit, do a little perspective. I think one of the issues that buyers and sellers have is that we're all hooked on these HGTV shows. I have my favorites too. The Fixer Upper, The Property Brothers, Love It or List It, Flip or Flop. I watch these all the time myself too. And I'm sure you have your own favorites. But a lot of times what they do in the show is at the end, they show a renovation project and they say the home was worth this much, we put this much into it, and then the value of the home is this much. Well, it doesn't usually work out that way. Home renovators, or flippers as they're commonly referred to, they generally say you want to take the worst house on the neighborhood, renovate it, and then it'll be the best house in the neighborhood, and then you get a good return on that. Well, that's true, but you always have to be cognizant of the market. A lot of these shows never even discuss the market. They're just dealing with one particular home. There is a sense that you can over renovate too. If you buy a house for $150 and the homes in that neighborhood and in that area are selling for $250, you put $100 in it, then you're not making any profit. Even if you add in all the costs at 100%, which isn't going to hold up. That's just not true. The other thing too is these shows, a lot of times what they do is they just deal with one particular home, and they're updating they really don't care about the neighborhood prices. This is their dream home, forever home. They're going to put that money into it because this is exactly what they want. They give it to them, everybody's happy. But you never see the neighborhood, never see what the going rate is around the home they're renovating. Flip or Flop, I think they're the only ones that really delve into that. Before they start a project, before you even buy the house, they pull comps. And they say, well, this house is worth so much, and we've got so much room to work with because this is as high as we can go, and expect to get a return. So they kind of budget on that. Okay, so maybe a lot of the source of the misconceptions and that a lot of people have, buyers and sellers, that if you put so much in, or if you have to put so much in, that you can't expect to get 100% back, unfortunately. So let's come back to Syracuse, Central New York market. Most of our homes, $200,000 or less. Generally, people have lived in those homes for decades. When the roof needed to be replaced, they did that. When the furnace went kaput, they replaced it, or the air conditioner, compressor, or what have you. Maybe they've done a little bit of landscaping, but the finishes in the kitchen and bathroom are functional. They're usable, workable, but they're still, the 1960s blue, gold, pink, yellow tiles. They've lived with that for many decades, and it works great for them, and they just decided to save the money. So when the buyers come in, they say, well, I need to do this, I need to do that, and then all of a sudden the calculator's going and they're reducing the list price, at 100% of what they expect that it's going to cost them to actually make those renovations. But that's not really true. The bad news is that most of these project costs are going to be less than 100%. So, and the overall average usually comes out between 60 or 65%. So that's a good rule of thumb to use. Now I do have a resource that I'd like to show, the Remodeling 2019 Cost versus Value Report. All right, so here's a report here. I can't put it up on the screen and publish it online because of copyright restrictions, but they will allow me to provide it for free for anyone who asks. So in the description below this video, I'll put my email address in there. If you have an interest, you want to get a copy of this, I'll be more than happy to send it to you. Just send me an email with the address I'll give you, and say we want the cost versus value report, and I'll send it right out to you. It's a PDF copy. It's only, I don't know, 6 or 8 pages. There's some advertising in here too. But basically, it starts off with certain types of projects. It explains each of these projects, and then in the end, it shows a table, and it's broken down by region. Now, what they've done is they've polled contractors in the area. They've come up with, for each of these projects that they identify, what the average cost is, and then they come up with the average resale value, and then the cost recouped. So, for example, here they've got bathroom addition mid-range, bathroom addition upscale, major kitchen remodel mid-range, major kitchen remodel upscale, entry door replacement, a grand entrance, window replacement, vinyl or wood. So there's a number of different projects here. So this is a good reference, give you a good rule of thumb to get an idea of if you have a project planned, what could you expect to get back in terms of a return. And the regions are, they've polled. Syracuse is actually specifically identified, and that's in the Mid-Atlantic region. So they show Syracuse cost versus value versus Mid-Atlantic, and then they also show you the national averages. So you get all 3 columns for each one of these jobs. And you can see the different return rates as you go around. The other thing that's going to have an impact on return rates, the cost versus value, is number one, if it's been professionally done. Obviously that's going to look better, and it's going to give it a top value. Now if we adhere strictly to these values that are shown here, these values are averages, but it's probably a top dollar value that you could expect if you did that particular project. Now if you did it yourself, you're a do-it-yourselfer, or it shows people come in and look at it and it shows that it's an amateur job, obviously that percentage is going to decrease. And also, if you did the project, within a year, you could expect to get, close to that top value. But if you did the project 5 years ago, then you've got to consider a little bit of depreciation too. So you won't get, that exact, peak value. The other thing too is going to be, aesthetics. Certain types of tile for your backsplash or for your floors or for your bathrooms. If you do the whole thing in black, obviously it's not going to appeal to a lot of people, even though you may love it. So keep that in mind too. So it could be a fine professional job, you paid top dollar for it, but you picked, really bright, gaudy colors that aren't going to appeal to many people. You're not going to get that top value either. So hopefully that clears up the discussion and misconceptions with cost versus value, and hopefully you'll have an interest in getting the report so you can do your own research and maybe plan. So you may be considering a couple of different projects and you can only fit one in this year and you're going to sell, then pick the one you're going to get the better return from. So I think it's a valuable resource, and I think it's important for any homeowner to have some sort of idea of what things are going to cost and what can you expect to get back from it. So now if you are listening this year, I'm available. Be glad to come out and give you a presentation, and we can discuss what the market conditions are and where your home would be positioned in the market. So feel free to give me a call for that too. All right, thanks for joining me. Hope to see you back here again. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Central New York Real Estate Realities with Mike. If you enjoyed this episode, please give me a like and or share it with your friends. Let's stay connected. Hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified of future episodes as I release them. Look for me on these other social media sites as well. Remember, when it comes time for you, someone in your family, or a friend, neighbor, or coworker to sell or buy a home, call me for the personalized attention and professional service you deserve. Thank you. All the best. See you next time.